Imagine that you've crash landed on a desert island. It might be just you, or maybe you've got other people that have crash landed with you. But you've got one choice to make. Are you going to panic? Are you going to ignore the situation? Or are you going to take control of the situation? This is the same thing with finances. Oftentimes people will try and ignore their finances and hope that it will just go away. But maybe you found yourself stuck in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and you're really wanting to figure this out. Well, I've got 8 steps to help you with your financial health. I'm Jeff Bulloch, and I'm here to help people with their financial management. With these 8 steps, you'll be able to go from a challenging situation into a really idyllic place. First step is to realize where you are. Just like this crash landing, if you ignore your situation, it's not really going to go away. That's the same thing with finances. If you ignore it, it won't go away. You have to look at where you are, see what your debts are, see what your expenses are, see what's happening with your situation financially. Once you've got that all figured out, and you see that you need some help, the next thing to realize is that there is hope. The end of this journey is a great end. You can have financial peace, and it's not that challenging. It might take some time, but it is something that you can achieve. In this scenario where you've crashed on a deserted island, think of it like, well, you've now crashed there, but then you can have a nice house on this island. You can live on an oasis, a getaway. That's the same thing financially. You might have crashed right now, but in the future, if you do these steps, you can have a great future and have a great relationship with your finances. So that's step 1. Understand how you got there and understand that there's hope for the future. Now, step 2 is making plans and setting goals. It can be really daunting to say, I'm going to go from where I am to have this oasis. The first thing to do is say, all right, what do I want with my money? What do I want to do with my money? And then break it down. How do you get there? What do you need to do? What's the little steps that you need to take in order to achieve that larger goal that you have in mind? Think about day-to-day things you can do, day-to-day changes that you can make that will help you get to your true goal. Oftentimes, people will get caught up in these day-to-day little things that they want and ignore their larger goal that they want to achieve. With this planning and goal setting, you might have to look at things and say, do I need to let go of this in order for me to truly have what I want? Say you want to go on a large, nice vacation. Well, maybe you need to spend less on holidays or birthdays. Maybe it's the other way around. You want nicer holidays or nicer birthdays. Maybe you need to spend less on vacations or on day-to-day expenses. These are going to be parts of your planning. All right, and I would say write it down, put it up on a board, let people know this is your goal. If you're working with somebody else that you're sharing finances with, see if you can come to an agreement on what your true goal is. Where do you truly want to be? And then talk through things. If it gets heated, calm down. It's just little steps that you're trying to achieve. Just the little steps. You don't need to make big wins, just little wins. That's what we're looking for. So that's step 2. Step 2 is making a plan and setting goals. Step 3 is healthy financial routines. I would say budgeting, but really we all know that once you get into a financial routine, no matter if it's good or if it's bad, you'll just stay in that routine. This is a thought out way to change that routine so that it is healthy and it is achieving your goal. You don't want to have to make a choice every single time you go and buy food at the grocery store. You want to be able to know, every time I go to the grocery store, this is how much I can spend. This is my routine. You don't have to make that choice every single time. Again, if you've crash landed on a desert island, you're going to get super tired making choices over and over again. It is a good idea to have that routine. Say, all right, in the morning, I forage. In the evening, I find fresh water. At night, I fix up my shelter. That is what you are going to do every single day. This is the same thing with financial routines. you want to just make sure that they're healthy. Make sure your spending is less than your income. Make sure that you're targeted towards your goals. Now, the next thing you need to do is step 4 and step 5. They kind of go hand in hand, but I'm going to start off with step 4. Step 4 is getting the right insurances in place. Sometimes these large expenses can throw you off of your financial health. So it is important to get something in place in case there are large financial situations that come up. Think of it like a shelter or a storage of food. If there is a large storm that comes through your island and it tears everything apart, that's going to make it very challenging for you to survive on that island. But if you have a nice shelter and a nice food storage, you'd be able to survive a lot better. That's the same thing with these insurances. It's kind of like a shelter or food storage. Now, the insurances that I would recommend would be a health insurance, home insurance, car insurance, life insurance, and long-term disability. Now, the best thing with these insurances is do your research beforehand. The people that are selling these insurances, they get some kickback from it. So you need to look through it so that they don't just try and sell you what they want you to have. They're going to try and sell you the nicest, most expensive deal. You need to look at what you truly need. You don't want to overspend on this. Like I said, step 4 and step 5 are kind of connected. Step 5 is have 1/2 of a month of expenses saved for, right? This again, it's like your shelter, like your food storage. What if your car breaks down? What if you have some kind of small emergency, right? Your hot water heater goes out. Well, you don't have an insurance that can cover that. That's where your little savings comes in. If you think about this little savings, I deliberately made it 1/2 of a month because everybody's situation is different. Everybody has different financial needs. Everybody has different financial obligations. It's not a lot, just a little, but it's enough for those small emergencies. And make sure it's actually an emergency. Getting a nice haircut is not necessarily an actual emergency. So that's step 4, step 5. Now that we've got those set up, we're ready to tackle the big one. Step 6. Step 6 is go all in on getting out of debt. Picture this. You're on this island, right? And there are hazards on the island. Maybe there's wild cats or pirates, something that's kind of dangerous. You need to clear that island of anything that's hazardous. This is the same thing with debt. Debt looms over you, no matter what your financial situation is. If you start struggling financially, that debt is still going to loom over you. No matter what, it is a good idea to get rid of all of your debt. A lot of people think that debt is a way to get ahead in life, but that's not really the case. Think about debt as just a way to pay twice as much for anything that you want. That's not helpful. The best way to get ahead in life is to pay exactly the price that it is. No more. So with debt, we're going to tackle it as much as we can. Focus really hard on getting rid of that debt so you don't have to pay that interest. You don't have to pay anything above and beyond the actual asking price. There are some things that you will have to have debt for, and that's inevitable. But even with those things, be frugal when you're buying them. For example, a house or a car or education. Make sure when you are buying those, you are frugal and you have it in your mind that you're going to pay them off as quickly as possible. And really work hard at paying them off. The nicest thing is when you are totally free of that debt. You don't have any more debt burden. You don't have to pay anybody extra money for anything that you're wanting. That is ideal. All right, now that you've got the debt paid off, you don't have any hazards on your island. You're totally ready to settle in. This is step 7. Step 7, you're going to build a better shelter for yourself. Something that isn't quite so drafty. When the storms come, it doesn't shake around. You're going to build something strong and something you can live in. In order to do this financially, you're going to have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved for. Right? So you take your 1 month of expenses that you figured out before, and you're going to expand that. This is so that if something big happens, right? Or your world turns upside down financially, you're prepared. Maybe you got laid off, maybe the economy goes crazy. You are ready. You're ready for whatever comes. And you have some wiggle room with that. A paycheck comes late, you're okay. It really creates that kind of financial peace that we're looking for. So you don't have to be stressed whenever something financially arises. Now, you might have to put this away into some other bank so that you're not always seeing this money and not always tempted by it. That brings us to the next step. You've got the shelter in place, you're living life. The next step is preparing for the future. This is step 8, preparing for the future and for retirement. Again, think about this. You're on this island, you've got the shelter. What do you do next? Next, you're wanting to take care of foraging. You don't want to have to forage all the time. You are going to plant your own seeds. You're going to get animals, take care of your garden so that you can just pick from the garden, you can just take from the animals. Those are the things that you're looking for the future. A lot more relaxing. In the case of finances, this is investing in your retirement. Now, a lot of people, when you talk about investing, they freak out. They have no idea what they should do with investing. It's a big, scary topic. But it really isn't that confusing. It's not that scary. People might make it scary because they're trying to sell you things. Right, so take a step back. If you do not understand it, it's not something you should buy. First thing when it comes to retirement is there's a list of items that you should do first. First with retirement is hit that match. If your company is offering a match, you want to max out on it. If they're offering you a 3% match, do that 3% match. No more than that match, just that match. The next thing is a Roth IRA. If you are making the money where you can invest in a Roth IRA, invest the max in your Roth IRA. That's part 2 of this. Part 3 of this is to invest in an IRA, max out your IRA. If you're making too much money for a Roth IRA, you can invest in a traditional IRA and roll it into your Roth IRA. The amount that you originally put into a Roth IRA is taxed, but the growth is tax-free. So especially if you're younger, you can really benefit from that tax-free portion of the growth. Now, the fourth thing to do when you're investing for your future is to put your money into an investment. Again, keep it simple. Just invest in a mutual fund. This is a fund that has several companies inside of it. This is more like investing in an industry and not investing in one individual company. If you invest in one individual company, that individual company might have high points and low points. That volatility is really challenging, especially when you're saving for the future. So the best thing is just to invest in that mutual fund. You have less volatility because you have so many companies that you're investing in. And you might choose several different mutual funds that you're investing in. So you're not specifically in one industry, maybe you're not specifically in one country. You're in several countries, several industries. Your investments will not grow quite as quickly, but they also won't drop quite as quickly if that's the case. And that's how you invest in the future. So those are my 8 steps for financial health. Let me go through it one more time. Understand where you are and have hope for the future. Step 1. Step 2, make a plan and set goals. Step 3, have a healthy financial routine. Step 4, get the right insurances. Step 5, save at least 1/2 a month of expenses. Step 6, do all you can to get out of debt. Step 7, have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved for. And then step 8, invest for your future. I hope you find this helpful. If you do, like and subscribe. I'm going to make videos that dive into each of these a little bit more in depth. So hopefully you'll be able to see those come along and be able to watch them just like you watch this one. Thank you. Bye.